Hi, welcome back to another edition of the Freemasonry Report. Okay, so it's important to be aware that a state of communication has a number of functions it needs to achieve, and they don't happen every week. They happen on a bi-weekly basis. In some lodges, they only happen once a month. So there's a lot of things you need to get accomplished during a state of communication. So is it fair to really say that a state of communication should be limited to 45 minutes to an hour? Or is it realistic to say it should be much, much longer? We're going to dive into that today. Okay, as a past master of a Masonic Lodge, I had the better part of a year to try to get everything accomplished I could get done. But there was a lot of things actually hindering me from getting things accomplished. One, I had to wait 30 days as my budget waited to get approved. I had Grand Lodge communication that actually landed on the week of a state of communication. I had numerous other activities going on, like elections and different activities that defeated from me getting as much done as I wanted to get done. And a lot of that was due to how the meetings landed. So in the wintertime, I had Christmas Day land on my state of communication. So we were not going to be having a meeting. We had also Thanksgiving land on our state of communication, so we were not going to have a meeting. So for those 2 months, I was limited to only 2 state of communications during that period of time, which was actually kind of hindering my level of productivity I could get done for the lodge. So why is this necessary? Why am I telling you this? It's actually kind of simple. The purpose behind that little story is you have a limited amount of time to get a lot of things done, like petitions approved, background checks done, investigative committees squared away, reports brought in, committee work updates. Plus, you need to have time for brothers to actually speak and talk about whatever questions they may have about a project you're working on at that moment. So how do you take care of getting all these things accomplished? Well, simply put, you need to actually have a plan in place for your given year. And even with the best set plans, if you don't have enough time in your meeting, you're sort of selling yourself short. Because when you're balloting on a person or voting on a person, or you're voting on information, or you're reviewing legislation that's coming up for a Grand Lodge, that takes time. That takes a lot of time. And then you have the reading of the minutes, which also takes time. And if you have like a degree or a call communication of some type, you have to read those minutes as well. So you could be spending up to 30 minutes just reading minutes if you have numerous minutes you have to go over. So what is the appropriate length of time? My recommendation is actually, if you don't have a lot to discuss, it should be about 90 minutes in length from start to finish. Because you could take advantage of having your minutes read, your motions need to be made, and also a chance for Masonic education as well. Now, if there's a lot that needs to be done, it might take 3 hours. I always say rule of thumb, about 3.5 hours is appropriate if you're only meeting twice a month. Okay, so how do I come up with this idea of 90 minutes per meeting is appropriate? Well, it's basically broken down like this. If you took 90 minutes per week and you have a 4-week month, that will give you 6 hours a month. If you only have 2 meetings over the course of the month, then you should be actually setting aside 3 hours per meeting. And if you need 3.5 hours, that's fine, but there's a lot of things you need to get accomplished. And those meetings only happen on a bi-weekly basis, which means you don't have the regular ability to have all those things get seen through from start to finish. So you have candidates to be balloted upon, petitions, motions, updates on work, committee reports, Masonic education, giving a chance for brothers to actually respond to some of the things they're hearing about. So 3 hours is actually a realistic amount of time. So let's take a look at this. If your state of communication starts, let's say at 7 o'clock at night, 3 hours would have it end at 10. If someone's complaining that they can't set aside 2 meetings per month to actually get actionable things accomplished over the course of that time, and they don't want to slate at 10 o'clock, you probably need to have a conversation with them and ask them why they feel the things that you need to really get done is not appropriate to get done. If 3 hours is really too long for your craft and you don't want to do that, you can always have Masonic education done during the dinner hour. You can also take advantage of doing different things prior to the meeting starting to shorten the length of the meeting. But even by doing that, you're still spending the 3 hours together to get things accomplished. So why is it so important to have longer meetings versus shorter meetings? Well, we have to run our craft like a business. I know people hate hearing that. People don't want to run the fraternity like a business, but there are some things that you need to do as a business no matter what. You have to pay your bills. You have to talk about paying your bills. You have to look at the expenses. You need to give people the chance to speak about them. You need to report in on how things are happening business wise. And some of those things are necessary and you can't shortcut them, because if you shortcut them, you're actually making the fraternity weaker. And a healthy fraternity sometimes has longer meetings. So as a Freemason, we should embrace the fact that we may need to have longer meetings because we're only doing it twice a month. If you really are against having longer meetings, it might be time to change your bylaws and have your lodge meet on a weekly basis. So you could say, hey, let's only meet for 90 minutes because we're going to meet every week. And if there's something that we have to table, we'll take care of it next week. We don't have to worry about it. We don't have to hash it out. The committee can get together over the next 7 days and we can meet again and talk about it again. That's totally suitable to do. And that's something you may want to consider doing if you don't want to have long meetings. Well, I hope this episode of Freemasonry Report was very helpful for you, and I hope you have a great, safe day. Remember, click like and subscribe if you'd like the videos, and share them around with your other Freemason friends around the web. I hope you have a wonderful day.